Hey, Missy Blue. Hey, Suzanne. Hey, so I don't have much time. Hey, Susan. Hey, y'all. Okay, I don't have much time this morning, but this message is really important for the collective. So here's what happened a while ago. Chaos ensued, and it always happens whenever I'm about to say something that is extremely important. It seems like it gets interrupted by my brother, my daughter, everything. It just seems like it explodes all at once. And here's what I know. That seems to always happen when I'm on the precipice of sharing something crucial and important to a collective. And okay, this morning, I have to tell y'all what happened. I was having a conversation with a friend, and all of these ancestors started coming through, like a Gullah Geechee woman, and her name was Sula B. And then I had a Neanderthal come to me as an ancestor and showed up in energetic form. And before there was language, there was this knowing, this understanding. And then we had Saint Germain come in, and through all of these channels, I'm trying to see what spirit, ancestors, and energy are trying to show me and tell me. And then you know that the message keeps coming back about water and recycling back to water. And so I don't know who else here, but I'm just going to have to keep going with this because I don't have much time today. Now, I don't have much time. So what I'm sitting with is like these people coming in and out, right? Like Sula V and the Neanderthal woman, and Da Vinci's been in and out kind of thing. And so I'm trying to figure out what all this means to us. Hey, and so Sula B had a message about trying to carry things that were heavy to us. And she spoke in a way that did not feel natural for me to speak that way. So I'm reluctant to share that message the way that she spoke because it could sound offensive. But it was about, she was saying, now listen, child, you have been carrying this weight of a quilt, like your mama's quilt. But it's not your mama's quilt to carry. It's the burden of this duality. And she's asking us to get back to what we remember, where we came from. And then the Neanderthal woman was saying, even before language existed, we had this inner knowing within ourselves that we sang to the deer, we touched the trees, and through the lichen, we felt something ancient and pure. And it's not to forget each time, it's to go deeper and deeper and deeper into understanding, not back to the old ways to forget everything that has ever existed. It's not anything like that. It's to remember who you were made to be. And there's something about that kept coming through, like Saint Germain. I spoke with a friend about Saint Germain because he keeps resurfacing, showing us violet flowers, and his energy is there. And I'm going to tell you something. There's a really dangerous thing that can happen. It's whenever an energy shows up to you, if you become it and fully identify with it, then you're stuck in that energy. It has nowhere else to expand. It has no room to grow. And so this is why I'm saying that even myself, I identify as a mother, as a wife, as a friend. And then that binds me to these contracts, to these obligations. And do you know what I truly am? I am a seeker of joy. I'm a rememberer. I'm an ancient who has felt the in-between of life and death, and knows that life is a delicate balance of figuring everything out and still being present in a moment. And this is where our human brains struggle all the time. And throughout these spaces, our ancestors and the people who keep coming to me are saying, remember the water. The water does not ask for permission to be. It doesn't try to, and water is one of these things that blows my mind because it can exist in multiple forms. And that is why we keep being led back to water. That is where we started. That's where we came from. That's where we have this delicate balance of being the water, becoming the water in every state. It's not up to us to identify as a liquid, a solid, or a gas, or a vapor, or it is us. It is for us to be malleable. And God, now this dream is making so much sense to me. I had this dream where an ancient showed me my true face, and it was creepy at the time. And so a lot of you who are finding connection now are kind of, the first time you feel it, it feels scary, so we pull away from it. And I even do that sometimes too, because I know that there's a fine line between me wanting to stay with people who understand my connection, who understand the depth of this life, and I want to stay there in the unseen. So it's easier. It's easier there. It makes sense. It all lines up. But here's what I know. Then I miss out on everything here that is joy. And that's why I say that I am a seeker of joy. Water is alive and falls in the octaves of blue and green. I love that. It's very poetic, right? So here's another thing. Olive was asking me, we were looking at rocks, okay? So simple rocks, like little bitty pea gravel. We have that we play with all the time. We touch the stones and we play this little game, like, what do you think this stone is saying? Or what do you think this stick says? And we have this, one of my favorite children's book is called Stick and Stone. If you have not read that, I'm going to read it to y'all one day. It is a brilliant book, and it talks about the balance and not being defined by limitations. The branch broke, and he wanted to know, he goes on this quest to find out where he was before that, right? Where that stick came from. And it's so much deeper, and the stick wonders, was I oak? Was I pine? Where did I live, and what was mine? And so there's this beautiful story unfolding about nature. And, you know, we think of, I have always thought of trees as majestic beings and elders to this earth. And they don't try to be anything different than who they are. But we are water. We come to this point in all of our ancestors, even back to the Neanderthal, before she had words. She had this understanding and this knowing that we were never meant to be removed from our ancestors. And this water, okay, so, gosh, I'm sorry. We'll go back to the rocks, okay? So we were holding these stones and playing with them, and Olive said, Mommy, how do rocks get their shapes? Like, they're all so different. Each one is different, but they all are important. And I said, yes, they are. And I started thinking about how water can actually move mountains, and water can change forms. And we have, when water flows naturally, it's not confined between banks, right? It can erode soil. It can change the shape of rocks. It can move mountains. So I'm thinking about this as we become, and we understand that there's more than duality. And when we, okay, I'm going to share this story. A friend of mine said that the first thing that came to mind after meditating, the very first time that they felt a true deep connection, they imagined a feather floating down the water. And for that person that was meditating, my friend, they felt like they were the feather. And I have always felt like I was the current, the water. And so here's what I'm saying. You cannot seek answers outside of yourself. And I even get to this point sometimes where I'm like, okay, ancestors, help me. And then I realize I'm doing the same thing that annoys me at times whenever people, I don't want to say that. It doesn't annoy me. I'm going to backtrack on that. I feel frustration sometimes when all of this stuff is flowing out, and then I feel like it's really registering For me, it is, because I see all these things in my mind, and then I realize, well, wait, they don't have the same, you don't have the same lens that I do. You're not seeing all the things that I'm seeing, so I have to backtrack and explain. And then I feel frustrated that I'm maybe not communicating clearly, or there's like all this decoherence, right? Like I'm all over the place all the time, and you know how my mind works. I kind of move in and out, but that's what I realized today. I am the water, and you, each one of us cannot identify as water, because if we are doing it the way that we are supposed to do it, we move, we flow. We don't swim against stream, right? We don't carve against the grain. But what happens, we've been shown, I didn't think I was going to share this because it sounds spooky, but I know that 24 of you in here are on the same wavelength as me, okay? When I died, am I sharing this? Are we sharing this today? This feels, okay, I want you to understand what I'm about to share could sound scary. It's not meant to sound scary, and it's not meant to disrupt your flow. I have to say this. I have to tell y'all. I have to tell you. Okay, when I died, I was Christian. I had this very fundamental belief and idea that I would go towards the pearly gates and see this white golden light like everyone talks about in their near-death experience. And I saw that light, and then I was met by my ancestors, my grandmother and my father, and in the trees. And oh God, I don't know if I want to say this. I'm worried that some of you are going to take this the wrong way. But okay, I'm just going to say it. Whenever I was met by the trees and my ancestors, they said, the light before you is a false light. You need to go this way. And whenever I looked, I saw that it was this pinkish red light. And everything that I had been taught to believe, like about heaven and hell, made me think that I shouldn't go to that light. But I knew my ancestors. I had always had a connection with my ancestors. And the earth. I've always had that. Ever since I was little, I connected with trees. I connected with land spirits. I connected with all that. Had I not had the trust in them, like so many of us have been so far removed from our ancestors, right? Like I think we can all agree on that. Like through religion and dogma, through teachings, through programs and constructs, we have been taught that it is bad to talk to dead people. And so had I not been met at that time by them and been steered in the right direction, I would have went towards the false light. And this is what we are taught. Jesus said it himself. Don't have false idols. Don't create these. And he was constantly getting people to say, look, if you don't go within yourself, if you follow blindly, you can be led in any direction. He warned of this very thing. And yet so many of us think we are following his true path, and yet we're being led down a road that keeps us in this same cycle. And I have always been repulsed by the idea that the earth is a prison planet. I hate that. I hate that because there's so much magic in this space. This is heaven. We have been tricked to believe that the earth is not heaven, and it is. And yes, there is some insane bullcrap that happens, but here's what I want to tell you today. I want to assure you that the only light that you can follow comes within. Your heaven is among you. Your heaven is here. Your light is within us. The Pict, the Neanderthal, Saint Germain are all talking about light that comes from within us. You cannot see, look, there may be people like me who tell their stories and share with you, but you cannot follow anyone else because we all have different ways of connecting, of feeling things, knowing things. I honor you. And I've always told y'all, I will do right by you. I'm not going to be bought. I can't be purchased. I won't sell out. But here's something I want to tell you. I also cannot interfere or intercede with your journey. We all have different paths. We all have different journeys. And that is the hardest part. Whenever I had to go the first time, because my brother showed up. He's checked himself out of the hospital and walked in the 109-degree heat advisory warning 20 miles. Having a stroke out in the yonder. And I think, why can he not see what he is doing? Heaven and hell are right here on earth, and they are perspectives, they are mindsets, and yet we look for light outside of ourselves. We look for a God to save us. We look for aliens to come and resurrect the planet. We are the ancients. If you sit among the trees and the land spirits and allow yourself to sit in silence, you can hear it for yourself. It's not up to me to tell you how to walk your path. I cannot lead anyone. I will not. And you should not be okay with anyone who would declare dominion over you. You are a sovereign creator. I have been so reluctant to share the light, the false light, and the red light. And there's this thing, when Thomas sent me a video of that Danny guy who does the experiment with the enhancement. I can't say the word, but y'all know what I'm talking about. And they all see a line of numbers, right? They all see that. And it's like an invisible electric fence that we've put around ourselves. And if enough people see that, I'm saying that there's hope. This is the time that all of our ancestors have waited on. This is a time where we can truly see everything that has happened and choose to say, no more kings, no more kingdoms. Did you know that I just read this big long thing about how, I don't know, I can't quote it exactly because I read so much and I write so much that I can't retain anything. I just in my channel, an open channel. So anyway, I read this thing this morning about in the 15th or 16th century, the lawns that were mowed were for the elites, and they were showing that they didn't have to grow food on their land, that they were rich enough that they didn't have to grow their food. And when I come back to this thing about water, water is nourishment for all of our plant life. It sustains us in ways that we can't. We are water. And whenever Erica Lee, that's weird, that's my middle name, and I spell it just like that. Whenever I whispered to the water, remember who you are. Remember who you were made to be. Because even the water has been contained and pumped full of chemicals, and she doesn't have a natural flow anymore. And I'm saying all of this to deliver a message of hope to you today. All of our ancestors are begging us to realize how important and intricate we are. All of these channels that keep coming through are the same things, but in a different way. And it's because all of the narratives, when I think about every narrative that has been allowed into our ether, it's misconstrued, it's misunderstood, and it has to come from within. And that's so frustrating because you think all these mystics, all these ascended masters were saying, go within, go within, all the answers are within. And you think at one point, well, why does everything have to be so... Why did Jesus speak in parables? Why did the mystics talk in riddles? Like everything has to be a puzzle. But that's because all the true ascended masters, all of the mystics, all of the Gnostics, all of the people who studied theosophy and mysticism had an understanding that their lens was not made for the entire world. It was made for them. Jesus in his teachings warned us about following false idols and looking for false light. And I'm reminded of this because last night we had a small little party, a gathering here. And I have family members that are very politically divided. I'll say that. Because as far as politics, I understand that there's a duality that's placed on us that's used for our division and our demise. And so I do not try to play into that. But I also have people who are very religious, but also politically indoctrinated in ways that I now understand to be corrupt. And it's not out of their own doing. It's something that's so heavily programmed and indoctrinated. That's why they can't say. That's why they spoke in parables and in poems, because they knew that their lens could tilt the message. So that's why I try so hard to speak from a place of either or. And I know that all the channels that have come through lately are asking us to see, to flow, to remember what is true, what feels right to you. And let me tell you something about what most people call spirit guides. These energies are trying to help you, but at the same time, there's a law that says they cannot interfere or intercede with your life and the outcome of your life. So yes, they can walk with you. They can walk alongside you, but they can't walk the road for you. I think about the water and as it's dammed up, and I feel like this is a very metaphorical but literal representation of how we are. We see now. Most of us can see, but we don't know what happens if the dam breaks. And we think, what will we do? Will we flood the plains? Will we flood a village? Well, let me tell you something about healing. It can look pretty messy, but it's necessary. And if you are acting from a place that is not healed, then it leads you down a road only looking for answers, but it's full of more questions. I know that I feel like sometimes I've been recently been going down this road of looking at the Tellico Plains and Norris Dam and the TVA construction because that's near me. And I feel this really negative kind of weird energy around it. And I feel that whenever we visit those places, I feel the people who were flooded, just outright, not even thought about, just flooded. And then I can see though that gave hundreds of other people jobs. So you can't see it as light and dark or good or bad. You have to see it for all of it, the whole of it. And that's the hardest thing with a human lens. Because the Gole Geche woman told me, okay, Sulabi said, the water will flow freely. And when the world tells you that you're too much tell them you came from much more. You can't, this goes back to, I think, another thing that they were saying, don't limit yourself to one identity, one energy, one element. Because when we do that, we're putting ourselves in a box. There are enough freaking boxes in the world to jump into. We're trying to jump out. Trying to move past the electric fence, the visible line of codes that run around us. Well, I just had this really strange, okay. This is someone's ancestor. Sula B is a bridge. Somebody in here is Sula B's descendant. Gullah Geechee. And I'm not familiar with these people, even though I should be. But, okay, thank you for that. There's language, and we get lost in it sometimes, right? Like, this morning I stopped and I said, oh my gosh, the energies are stagnant. They don't know where else to go. That's why we're seeing all this bizarre energy. Like, who in the world made this bingo card up? Like, who did this? And I've thought about that long and hard with all the channels that keep coming through. And I think, here's what I know now. I know that the energies are stagnant and they're stuck in this loop, this energetic loop. And then I was thinking, oh my gosh, we need new archetypes. We need archetypes that are unbound by dogma and religion and confines. Here's what I know now. We cannot identify with one energetic archetype, and we have to move like the water. We have to flow in and out of states. And sometimes we flow right into the direction of, wow, we're getting an overabundance of information. And sometimes we ebb. And we have days where there's just silence. And that's okay too. I don't have those days, and I'm grateful that I don't. But I know that they come and go. There are days when I wake up and I can't remember anything, though. Like, I have a dream journal, and I keep that by my bed, and I write constantly dreams that come through. And there are mornings that I get up and I can't remember anything. And then there are other nights where I have to get up multiple times and write everything down. Your ancestors talk through the teeth and through the trees. They talk through my teeth, and they talk through the trees, and they talk through all the spirits of the land and the water. And some of you will feel more strongly connected to water. Bless it. Joan, you sent me that Algonquin water song, and I'm trying to memorize that. But we thank the water, and I think sometimes intention is enough, because before there was anything else, there was intention and heart and resonance. Like, you didn't have to say anything, you just were. And that's what I offer today. Like, just, it's so difficult whenever you wake up and you see the corruption and the lies and all of this stuff, and then you start thinking about, how do I get out? How do I get out of this cycle? How do I get out of this loop? And it's not about that. It never has been. This is heaven on earth. And that's why I'm so repulsed by the fact that, like, every time I hear people talking about Prison Planet, it gets something in me, and I'm like, ugh. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and I can't get far enough away. And that's why, because this is heaven on earth. It was meant to be heaven on earth. But through dogma, through religion, through the Catholic Church, through the Greeks, they continue to package this up and move it, rebrand it. There's false light in this world, and if you do not go within and know yourself, it can be easily distracted. It's just like I think about moths, like how they can go to the light, and they have to know that it can like hurt them or burn them. It's like the sunflower poem. Even the sunflowers have turned their back. And what if I told you this is a cycle that repeats every 300 years, and we have been resigned to keep repeating it until we learn from it? And here's my truth. I'm telling you today, I've never told anyone that today, but about the red light, except my husband and my mother-in-law and a dear friend of mine. Because I was worried that it might sound scary or cause unnecessary fear. And I hope that is not what it's doing for you. Because it's meant to be hopeful. That the light is here among us, with us, within us. It's not something external outside of us. It's not the depiction of the devil is red, and I just wonder, like, is that even intentional? Like, was that done with intention? Our ancestors and everyone that's coming through is begging us to see what we are, to remember what we are, who we were made to be. When I look at this world, and whenever I'm fully present, I realize that this is heaven. And everything that we've been taught, even down to the things that are allowed to come through, even our awakenings have been controlled, repackaged, rebranded, repolished up, shined up, and then put into a new package. And it's so important for you to understand this and know this and feel your way into it. It may not be the exact words that you would use, and that's why it's so important to go within yourself, because sometimes seekers, people who are seeking answers, are the thing that distorts the real truth. So I hope that sits well with you, and I hope that you can feel your way into it, because it's important. It's so important. Don't identify with one energy or one archetype, and that's what sometimes happens whenever we have these energies come through. We want to... The daughter of Ra comes to mind. Like, okay. So there are some people that I have been following, and I can see their descent when they tap in to one energy and start wanting to identify with that energy. No, it's meant to show you something, and then you move on. Because when we identify with one energy, one container, one box, we miss out on everything else. It's like the message about the scenic route, right? Like, we can take this road in front of us paved with good intentions, but they come with terms and conditions. We can go back the old way that's burnt with ash, or we can make a new scenic route. And the scenic route, healing, is not always paved. It's bumpy. It's there may not be a bathroom along the way. There may not be food. Yes, Sav, I'm talking about people who are food. Yes. Yes, Sab. I'm talking about people who are going specifically all of them, but like whenever, okay, so let's say I've shared channels with y'all, and like whenever Saint Germain comes through for me, or Orpheus or Da Vinci, and or Sula B this morning, if I harnessed her energy and contained myself to that, then I would not grow and grow and grow and grow. And the thing about the answer is so simple. It's like too simple for our human brains, because we think it's a complex problem, right? Like we think, oh my gosh, there's so much corruption, there's so much damage, and we're recycling into this false light. But here's the thing about it: we have the answers right in front of us. It's the connection to the land and the ancestors. It makes us grow in ways that our human brains can't understand. And it expands our energy and our aura into other fields. And I don't know if y'all can see the energy around me today, but it's intense. And it's like, the more and more that you see people, the more energies that we can tap into. And we are not one, we are all. So when people say we are all one, that's literally what it means. It's like consciousness exists outside of our bodies, and we can tap into it anytime. The energies are here. There's little fractals of light everywhere. And so I'm going to post this. I'm going to download it and post it on YouTube if you missed any of it, because it seems pretty important. It got interrupted twice, so I know it's important for this collective and for this community. And we have to step back and see that we can't just harness one energy and identify with one energy or one archetype. Or look, if you are, your aura can change at any moment, right? Like, sometimes my aura is pink, sometimes it's white, sometimes it's yellow. I don't know. So anyway, I'm saying that your energy, your aura, if we are doing things in the way that our ancestors are telling us to do, we can change our energies, we can change our auras, we can change things to not get out, but to flow the way that we're supposed to flow, like the water. Unbound by banks. Unbound by dams. And I feel this huge release coming for this whole collective. Like, I know that things are hard for some of you. And I know that sometimes we seek deeper answers. But you have to find that. You have to feel your way into it. And if I can say something that helps you along the way, I hope to do that. Or if somebody else in here can say something that helps you along the way, I hope that helps. But also, I want your inner voice to be so strong that there's no doubt of where that message was coming from. Because here's what I know. There are tricky energies too. It's not like bad energies, but they can be tricky. And sometimes it's like that thing, it's like inner dialogue. I don't know, some people don't have that, but it's like your inner dialogue. If something negative enters your brain and you name it and say, where did that come from? And you find that that's not your true inner voice, but it's an intrusive thought, then that changes everything. I'll give you a for example. Whenever I was laying on my deathbed back there, and I thought, yes, wow, okay. So it's not a thing, it's a happening. I love that. In quotes. I love that. So when I was laying back there in my deathbed, I was thinking, oh my God, I'm going to die. I've been told I'm going to die. I have 6 months to a year to live. And I put that on repeat in my head. And I thought, what am I going to do? What do I want on my bucket list? I started making a bucket list. And I was like, I want to dance around the world. I want to do this. I want to do that. And then I realized that none of that, as the time got closer and closer, I was realizing none of that mattered. What truly mattered was the love that coexisted between this reality, that reality, and everyone else that I had a connection with. And if that's the only thing that matters in death, then it's the only thing that matters in life. Those intrusive thoughts can come back around, but if you name them and you know them and they're not coming from you, then it's easy to just push those away. That's what's hard, because you have got to know your own thoughts. You've got to know your own brain and your own voice. And I talk about this constantly because I remember, if y'all have been with me a while, you'll know that I talk about Anne Snitzenheimer. And she didn't have my voice. She had a mix between Julia Child and the French chef. The French chef and the Swedish chef on the Muppets, right? Like, her voice was a blend of those two. And she was important for my childhood. She kept me safe in a lot of places that safety was not an option. Whenever I was in the hospital, she was there with me to help me through those times. And she was not imaginary. She was real to me. She was part of me. She was my whole. And so, as I'm telling you this, I realize that Anne is a part of me. So are you. So is Da Vinci. So is Saint Germain. So is the people that we don't agree with throughout history. I don't know. Pol Pot. He's part of us. Everybody is part of us. And when we stop seeing things in this duality, this lens of duality, then everything becomes whole. And it's so important that we stop identifying with an archetype. Like, I think about this all the time. Like, I was told, you're a wounded warrior archetype. And I sat with that for a while. And I thought, yeah, I am. I'm wounded, but I made it. And then I started realizing how that was limiting me in a way. Because I'm more than that. I'm more than a mother. I'm more than a friend. I'm more than a sister. I'm more than a daughter. I'm so much more than that. I'm the trees, I'm the earth, I'm the breath of life. I'm sovereign, and I don't want dominion over another, and I am not going to be of service to anyone who would claim dominion over me. All of these thoughts come back to not identifying, to being malleable and immortal. If we think about immortality in a way that we think about gods or whatever, and we think, oh my gosh, that could never happen, like, we're not, listen, our society really focuses and thrives on how we identify ourselves, down to pronouns, down to, and I can't fit in that box anymore, because I realize by doing so, I limit myself. I am he, she, they, we, and all of the above, and I hope that everyone understands that, how important it is to claim all. We limit ourselves sometimes in our beliefs, in our labels. I have this piece of art that I did during my healing process, and it's my face, and it has all these name tags, and it says, hello, I'm fat. Hello, I'm chubby. Hello, I am gay. Hello, I am queer. Hello, I am, I don't know, a whore. You know, like all these things that I had been labeled throughout my life, like it could have just been by one person. But when I look at that piece of art, that piece of art is coming back into my mind. And I think about that because a lot of us have been given labels by other people, right? Like, why are you accepting labels from other people to begin with? And why are we limiting ourselves to those names and to those things? Because before there was language, there was breath, there was knowing, there was roots and water and all the good things. All the best things in life truly are free. And this is not a prison planet. I refuse to accept that as my truth. I know that this heaven is on earth right now. And it's ours to see it, observe it. I look through these things and I see you don't need to be thinner, you don't need to be prettier, you don't need to be anything other than who you were made to be. Because you are the seed that was planted a long time ago and have bloomed into this big soul flower. And it's hard being a soul flower, because I'm going to tell you why. Because you may be the only flower in the field who turns its back against the false light. And you may be growing in a different direction. And you may be saying to the other sunflowers, look this way. It reminds me of the allegory of caves, right? Like when Plato ascended outside of the cave, and then he came back to pull everyone else. And no one could see what he was talking about. They thought he was nuts. Think about all the people in our timelines who have been deemed crazy because they could see. And let me tell you, there's a fine line, because I walk it myself and sometimes I think, oh my God, I'm going off. Like, there's these impulses of leaving everything behind. But I have to understand that that's not a literal manifestation. It's a memory. It is something in my soul that says, look, these people are going to distract you. These people that you love are going to be distractions here on earth. They're going to be distractions, but they're distractions in the best possible way. Because if we were just floating, free falling, there would be a hard landing. There would be a point where we are completely immersed in the water. The flow can take you where you want to go. And then once you get there, it can be quite confusing, because you're like, wait, where is everyone else? Where did everybody else go? But you're not alone. Don't limit yourself. There's something about embodying. Embodying keeps coming up to me. Like, embody the water, embody the fire, embody the air, embody the earth. Become. I think I'm so grateful for all of y'all. And I want to say that I honor you today. I truly do. I honor you, and I consider it my privilege to walk with you on your journey. And I want to thank you for walking with me. And I don't want to, like, the people on the Discord, I want y'all to I want you to feel free to share your heart and the things that come through to you. I want you to know that I want to hear you and see you. And I don't want to overwhelm y'all with all these people that come through. Like, I don't know where to, I don't know if y'all want to hear everything that comes through, because I think it would be a lot. So I'll continue to ask to be led by the ancestors and share what I think. But I want you to know that I want to see you. I want to hear you. And I really, truly want to walk alongside you. So if you feel something in your heart to share, then share. And okay, I'm just seeing what else is coming. Sorry, something else. Sula. S-U-L-A-B-B-E-A. Sula B. And I think she was definitely a Gola Geechee. Gola Geechee. Yeah. So I think I'm going to share that with y'all. But there's also something about the water and the way it takes